Have you ever wondered why a nation with a shared history, culture, and language ended up splitting into two separate entities? It's an intriguing thought, isn't it? A people who once lived under the same roof, shared meals, stories, and dreams, now divided by a stark line of demarcation. The story of the Korean split is a tale of resilience, struggle, and hope. So, ready to unravel the threads of this captivating narrative? Buckle up as we delve into the journey that led to the division of the Korean peninsula. The roots of the split trace back to the early 20th century, during the Japanese occupation of Korea. A time when Korean identity was suppressed, its culture overshadowed, and its people subjected to harsh colonial rule. This was an era of struggle, but also of resilience. Even as Korea was forced into the mold of a foreign power, the spirit of its people remained unbroken. Underneath the surface of this enforced conformity, resistance was brewing. Liberation movements sprouted like seeds in the hard ground, fueled by the indomitable will of the Korean people. These movements were a testament to the persistent desire for autonomy and self-determination. But liberation from Japanese rule was not a simple return to the way things once were. The end of World War II in 1945 saw the end of Japanese rule, but a new chapter was about to begin for Korea. A chapter marked by division, ideological struggles, and a war that would forever change the peninsula. With liberation from Japan came a new form of occupation, ideological. The Korean peninsula, once unified in its struggle against foreign oppression, found itself divided again, this time by unseen lines of political thought. Two superpowers, the United States and the Soviet Union, emerged from the ashes of World War II, each with their own vision for the world's future. In the north, the Soviet Union's influence fostered a communist regime under Kim Il-sung. This new government championed the ideals of self-reliance, or juche, and workers' rights, hoping to create a socialist utopia free from the influence of external powers. Meanwhile, the South, under the guidance of the United States, embraced democracy and capitalism. Syngman Rhee, the first president of South Korea, sought to transform the nation into a beacon of freedom and prosperity in the East. These two divergent paths represented not just a physical division, but an ideological chasm. The two Koreas, despite sharing a common language and culture, found themselves growing further apart, each molded by the ideologies of their respective backers. This ideological divide was not just about political systems or economic models, it was about two fundamentally different visions for the future of the Korean people. In the North, a future shaped by self-determination and collective responsibility. In the South, a future driven by individual freedom and economic prosperity. But as we all know, these contrasting visions couldn't coexist peacefully. The ideological divide set the stage for a devastating conflict that would cement the division. The Korean War, a bitter and brutal conflict, would soon engulf the peninsula, leaving in its wake a legacy of pain and separation that continues to shape the Korean peninsula to this day. This ideological divide set the stage for a devastating conflict that would cement the division. The scars of this divide are still visible today, reminding us of a past filled with conflict, but also inspiring us to strive for a future of reconciliation and unity. The Korean War, a brutal conflict that tore the peninsula apart. From June 1950 to July 1953, the Korean peninsula was embroiled in a war that was as much about national identity as it was about global ideologies. The conflict was rooted in the division of the Korean peninsula at the end of World War II, a division that saw the North fall under Soviet influence and the South under American. In the early hours of June 25, 1950, North Korean forces crossed the 38th parallel, marking the start of a fierce three-year war. The North, backed by the Soviet Union and China, aimed to unify the peninsula under a communist regime. The South, supported by the United States and its United Nations allies, fought to maintain its independence and democratic ideals. The war was marked by intense battles, widespread destruction, and a staggering loss of life. Key events such as the Incheon landing, the Pusan perimeter, and the Battle of Chosin Reservoir demonstrated the brutal realities of this conflict. Civilians suffered immense hardships, with millions displaced from their homes, while the soldiers faced harsh conditions and fierce combat. The Korean War also had significant global implications. It was the first major armed clash during the Cold War, setting a precedent for how future conflicts would be fought and resolved. It marked the first time the United Nations took collective military action, and it set the stage for the ongoing US-China rivalry. After 3 years of devastating warfare, an armistice was signed on July 27, 1953. But the war did not end in victory for either side. Instead, it resulted in a stalemate, with the 38th parallel becoming the demilitarized zone, a heavily fortified border that continues to divide the Korean peninsula to this day. The war ended, leaving a demilitarized zone and two distinct Koreas in its wake. The Korean War, often referred to as the Forgotten War, left an indelible mark on the Korean peninsula and the world. It shaped the geopolitics of East Asia and continues to influence North-South relations today. As we reflect on this chapter of history, we are reminded of the human cost of war and the enduring hope for peace. The demilitarized zone, a scar reminding of a painful past. In the aftermath of the Korean War, a new landscape emerged. The demilitarized zone, or DMZ, was established as a buffer zone between North and South Korea. Stretching over 150 miles in length and about 2.5 miles wide, the DMZ is a poignant symbol of division and conflict, a stark reminder of a war that technically has never ended. But within this zone of separation, a strange serenity exists. Nature has reclaimed much of the land, creating an unexpected sanctuary for wildlife. It's a paradox, really. Amidst the echoes of war, the DMZ stands as a testament to the resilience of life. Beyond this buffer zone, both Koreas faced daunting challenges. They had to rebuild from the ashes, shape new identities, and navigate the complex dynamics of international politics. For South Korea, the journey involved transforming from a war-torn nation into a global powerhouse. A journey marked by rapid industrialization, technological advancements, and cultural exports that resonate worldwide. North Korea, on the other hand, charted a different path. Embracing a policy of self-reliance, or yush, the nation forged its way through economic hardships and political isolation. It's a path that has been fraught with difficulties, yet it's a path they've steadfastly walked, determined to maintain their sovereignty. Socially, the division created a chasm, not just in geography, but in the hearts of the Korean people. Families were torn apart, generations grew up without knowing their kin across the border. Yet, within these narratives of separation, there are also stories of resilience, of longing, and of hope. Despite the division, the dream of reunification lives on. Today, this dream is expressed through various channels, from diplomatic dialogues to cultural exchanges. It's a dream that's carried in the hearts of the Korean people, a dream that one day, the scar that is the DMZ will transform into a seam, stitching the two Koreas back into one. Because in the end, it's not just about geopolitics or ideology. It's about a shared heritage, a shared history, and perhaps a shared future. Today, North and South Korea stand as distinct nations, but with a shared dream. In the heart of the Korean peninsula, you'll find two countries with a common heritage, yet divergent paths. In the north, the pursuit of juche, or self-reliance, is a defining attribute. Despite economic challenges and international sanctions, North Korea remains steadfast, charting its own course in the global narrative. South Korea, on the other hand, has embraced globalization, transforming itself into an economic powerhouse. With its cutting-edge technology, vibrant pop culture, and democratic ideals, it stands as a beacon of progress and innovation. But beneath their differences, both nations carry a shared longing for peace and reunification. Efforts towards reconciliation are evident in the inter-Korean dialogues and diplomatic engagements. These initiatives, while complex and fraught with challenges, reflect the collective desire to bridge the divide. The Panmunjom Declaration of 2018, where leaders from both nations pledged to end the Korean War officially, is a testament to this aspiration. Yet the path towards peace is not without obstacles. The specter of nuclear weapons, differing political ideologies, and international pressures add layers of complexity to the reunification dialogue. But the resilience of the Korean people, a trait forged in the crucible of history, serves as a beacon of hope. In the bustling streets of Seoul and the quiet hamlets of Pyongyang, the ordinary people of Korea dream of a day when the 38th parallel no longer divides families and friends. They envision a future where shared cultural heritage, language, and history unite them, rather than political ideologies that separate them. The story of the Korean split is not merely a tale of two nations. It's a narrative of resilience and hope, of a people who have endured the trials of history and emerged stronger. The Korean peninsula, split in two, stands as a symbol of the complexities of history, but also the indomitable spirit of its people. The story of the Korean split serves as a reminder of the complexities of history and the resilience of a people united by a shared past. As we look towards the future, we are reminded that history is not merely a record of the past, but a guidepost for the future. And in the shared dream of a united Korea, we see the enduring power of hope and the unyielding spirit of a people determined to shape their own destiny.